Ladies and gentlemen, my name is
Scott.
Hey, yo. Is that his younger brother? It's gonna be
Jeff.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
And you're listening to
all of the great action figures from our good friends at Hasbro.
The Fully Poseable.
Have your own WrestleMania with all your favorite figures.
Wrestling Figure.
Each sold separately from LJN.
Podcast.
And we are the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Hey, welcome to episode 198 of the Fully Poseable Wrestling Figure Podcast, the longest running episodic wrestling figure podcast going today. My name is Jeff. Thank you, good brother Mike, for pointing out that I haven't even introduced myself the past 3 shows, dude.
Oh. Well, it's not like anybody who's been listening for like the last 198 episodes isn't going to know who you are. But yeah, I guess you should take back to doing that, huh? I'm your host, Jeff.
I am Ghost.
Yeah. I'm just a talking head. I have no name.
I'm Phantom Voice.
Well, hello, Phantom Voice. Welcome to the show.
I'm still cooler than the Kiss movie, The Phantom, right, Scott?
No, you're not even close to that.
What?
Come on. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park?
The Phantom of the Park movie? That was terrible.
Oh, dude, that's always been way cooler than you. Number 1, it was made before you. Number 2, it's held up way better than you. Your check engine light's on. That thing's check engine light has never come on. It's still perfect today.
Where did they film that movie?
Magic Mountain.
Down in Southern California, right?
Correct. Yeah, it was filmed at Magic Mountain.
Sitting alongside next to me is my real-life brother, not storyline brother, Scott. Scott, say hello.
Hello.
Scott, what is going on over there, man?
Well, I had a black cherry vanilla bang today, so I've got that fueling me. It's been a crazy week at work, so I haven't had, spoiler alert, much of a chance to do any toy spotting, but I am going to bring some toy spotting to the table. So I'm feeling strong about this week's show. I am super, super excited about the news we're going to share with people.
What about the news of 2K20? Is there anything?
Okay. So I might have ranted a little bit long last week. Would you say that, Jeff? Is that fair?
You did, but you brought valid points to the show.
So I'm all for a good redemption story, right? Somebody or something falls from grace. Say, for example, Popeyes. They released the best chicken sandwich known to man, or comparable to Chick-fil-A, maybe. And then they sell out, and it has yet to come back into the stores, right? That's kind of a fall from grace. It's a huge tease, and then bloom, nothing. They're gonna get more chicken sandwiches in. That's Popeye's redemption story. I want something similar for 2K20. I really do. I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be great. It had a lot of potential. They're doing some off-the-wall stuff with like 2K Originals Bump in the Night pack that just released. I want them to have a great redemption. I want that patch that's going to release in a week or two to really fix the game, fix the bugs, the glitches, make it better. There's probably nothing they can do for the graphics, but I'll tell you what, while I was unhappy with them for pushing out this DLC before they actually fixed the game, I did play the DLC, and I've got to say, it's good. It's not mind-blowing, but it's something different in the realm of a wrestling video game, and I appreciate where 2K went with it. The graphics still are what they are. It's a huge step backwards for the franchise in terms of graphics, but overall, I enjoyed the DLC content. The Fiend looks good. I am playing through the Finn Balor storyline. Currently, I cannot get past the handicap match between myself and the Bludgeon Brothers. They're just whipping me from one end of the ring to the other. And then you've got all these little accomplishments you have to hit during the match. And it's a total pain. But I'm enjoying it. So it's adding something different. It's not your traditional, let's have a match, or let's have a cage match, or a TLC. They actually throw you into this cool environment. And it's different for a wrestling video game. And I appreciate where they were going with this. Again, not so cool that you're pushing DLC like all over social media. Hey, buy the DLC. When you have, I'm not going to call it a broken game, but a game that's still very glitchy and buggy, that should be addressed before you start really trying to sell people on DLC. But I appreciate what they're doing, and I want them to have a happy ending to this story. I want a good redemption, like, hey, we released it broken, our bad, we're going to make it better. So I'm hoping for a happy ending to all of this. I hope by the end of all the DLC, I'm super happy with purchasing the game, but the jury's still out. The jury is still out, but so far I'm enjoying the DLC. I got the deluxe edition, so I got it for free essentially, but I am enjoying it so far.
Kiss Phantom of the Park is better than WWE 2K20, right?
Well, that goes without saying, dude. That goes without saying. What's your favorite movie of all time?
It's a tie between Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Jackass. The first one.
Thank you for clarifying. That says so much about you as a person. That those are your two favorite movies. Like, anybody that's been listening for the past 198 probably could have guessed that without even knowing the answer. They probably could have been like, it's either going to be Step Brothers, Jackass, the first one, or what was the other one? Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I'm sure anyone that's been listening, even for like the past 4 episodes, could have totally guessed that those were your two favorite movies. Incredible. But my point is, A Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park is better than both of those.
Oh, whoa.
Fight me.
Dude, you have lost all credibility regarding movies. Figures you're still good on, dude, but movies,
Okay. So I'm not going to be on a movie podcast anytime soon.
No, I don't think anybody will be inviting you on unless they're doing a special episode of Kiss at the Phantom of the Park.
I'm all in. Dude, I'm all in. I've seen that movie like 100 times. It's so great.
What have you watched more, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park or whatever that is, or Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka from ECW One Night Stand?
That is a great question, and I'm going to say it's probably Awesome Tanaka from One Night Stand, only because that's like a piece of candy. Like, if you're going to watch Phantom of the Park, it's like an hour and a half. It's a process, right? But you have a few shots in you get to feeling good, and then you're like, hey, dude, let's put on Awesome Tanaka. So that's more of a piece of candy. So I definitely have seen Awesome Tanaka more than I've seen Phantom of the Park, but I enjoyed Phantom of the Park more. Okay.
You've lost all credibility. Let's get on with the show.
I might be exaggerating a little bit. Like, if I ever had a movie podcast, my first question to anybody would be, what is your favorite movie, and why is it Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park?
Nobody is going to listen to us talk about movies after you say that's one of your favorite movies of all time.
That was the goal. I'm trying to kill all other genres on our podcast. We're just going to stick to wrestling figures.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's move past Scott. If you want any of our shirts, you can head on over to Pro Wrestling Tees or whatamaneuver.net and pick up any of our t-shirts over there. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and the Book of Faces at Fully Poseable, Instagram Fully Poseable, WFP. You can go back and listen to any of our past podcasts, any of them at all, on FullyPoseablePodcast.com. Download that Podbean app if you are on the go. Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Please rate and review on iTunes. Scott, this is our last American review.
USA.
Then we get to go into the UK reviews.
UK.
This last review comes in from Future Eagle 654. It says, best energy drink podcast. Gave us sweet 5 stars.
Yes.
We're an energy drink podcast that talks wrestling figures.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Ever wondered how to get energy to get through the day? Well, this show has got you covered. Oh, they also talk about wrestling figures. These brothers created a great community, solid podcast about news and memories. A must listen to, David. Thank you, David, for sending that in, man. We do discuss energy drinks a little bit on the show.
Well, again, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. Somebody else had brought that up. And thank you for the review, David. I love it. It's what fuels us to get through the show. And if it's fueling us, we figured it'd help you as well. If you've got stuff going on, say after work, you need to go to a kid's function, or you're playing softball, or whatever it might be after work, pound that bang, or the what do they call, Jeff? The Smart Cups?
Smart Cups, yep.
Thank you, the Smart Cups. Monster, Rockstar, whatever it is. But we share with you what works for us, so if you need some fuel to get through whatever you're doing after work, we try to help you out a little bit. But then we'll steer it right back to wrestling figures, not movies. We promise.
So I have to be honest, I've actually cut back on Bang, dude. I went on a stretch there where I was out of Smart Cups, so I started drinking a mess load of Bangs, and I kind of got burnt on them. Like, I really just hit a limit on them, and I was just like, I'm done. I can't do them right now. Unless I can find Miami Cola, I'm going to take a extended break on those.
So did you just get sick of the flavors, or did it just stop working for you, or what was the drawback?
No, they still worked, but I don't know, maybe just too much of the ones I was drinking. I was drinking Purple Haze, I was drinking Rainbow Unicorn, I was drinking I was mixing up the flavors, but it just, I don't know, it just felt like it was too much. Maybe I know they've got the energy shots, but maybe if they came out in an 8-ounce can, I can handle it a little bit more. But that 16-ounce can, I can't do anymore, man. I know I dump a third of it or 2/3 of it away, but it's still just like, I don't know, it's too much.
Dude, there's starving kids around the world that would kill for the bangs that you're throwing out.
I don't think it works that way, Scott.
Oh, they don't want bang? Okay.
No. Thank you, Future Eagle, for sending in that review. You can send us any audio questions, or anything else at all to fullyposeablewfp@gmail.com. Scott, I want to thank Johnny Toys on Instagram, JONNYETOYS, for doing the $1 Million Man Cash Mob this past week. He picked up a WCW Wrestling Crayon by Number book and also some WWF Superstar card games from his local toy shop. And I want to thank him for doing that and supporting the local toy shop.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And again, $1 Million Man Cash Mob, tag us in it. Hashtag MDMCM, $1 Million Man Cash Mob. Tag us in it, please. As I said, this is a thing that we want to do. We want to get out there and support these local toy shops that are giving us toys from our past that have these, that if you can't find one, or it's bringing back memories that you got of a toy that you got rid of a long time ago. Support these local toy shops that may have these rare figures. Tag them in it, tag us in it. We want to share these out. We want people to hit up these local toy shops if they're on vacation in this city. So anyways, I want to thank Johnny Toys for doing that. Scott, did you or did you not did you do a toy spotting?
I did. So today I actually got in my Storm Collectibles Hogan's. I bought all 3, and the other night the great Nate at Ring Skirts on Twitter hit me up and he asked if I had gotten my Hogan's yet, and I had not. So he sent over some pictures. Of course, Nate is the amazing figure photographer that you can follow on Twitter, again, at Ring Skirts. Sent me some in-ring shots of his Hogan, or I should say Hogan's, and incredible. I mean, not only was the photography fantastic, but I could see the detail that Storm put into the Hogan's, the multiple Hogan's, and I'm just blown away by it. And he asked me, is it better than the Defining Moments Hogan, knowing that that is my favorite Hogan of all time? And I'm like, man, I've got to wait and see until I get mine like in hand, compare and contrast, see what it is. And so I asked him, I was like, Nate, what do you think? And he goes, best Hogan ever. So in the great Nate's opinion, the Storm Collectibles Hogan beats LJN, Hasbro, Jakks, Mattel, and you may as well put, Jeff, I'm forgetting the name of the Japanese original Hulk Hogan figure.
Oh, Popey.
Popey, thank you. In Nate's opinion, the Storm beats all of those. That's Nate's favorite. Storm Collectibles Hogan. I got mine today. No packaging materials in the box, unfortunately. Just 3 Hogans stuffed into a cardboard box. No protective materials. That sucked. Luckily, the Hogans were not damaged. Came out fine. I am going to open the Hulk Rules, which is not the limited edition of the 3. I'm going to open it up. Based off, this is just MOC to MOC. I've got to say Nate's right. The Storm Hulk Rules Hulk Hogan, because I'm going apples to apples here. It's the red and yellow Hogans side by side. I've got to say the Storm is better. It might lean a little more towards Storm because of the extra head, the extra hands, the base that you can stand them on. It might have a little bit to do with that. But I like the beefier look of the Hogan. And in one of Nate's pictures, Jeff, he actually took the 86 title off of his Defining Moments Hogan and put it on one of his Storm Hogans. And it fits like a glove. Absolutely beautiful. If you're going to open yours up, to take the 86 title off of the Defining Moments and stick it on your Storm Collectible 80s era Hogan figure, it's going to really stand out. So thanks to Nate for that idea. I'm going to do the same thing. I've got to say Storm gets the edge now on the Hogan. They have just figured out the way, and I thought Mattel was king, but I've got to say the Storm is better. I agree with Nate 100%.
So I got mine yesterday as well.
Oh, you did?
I did. No packing in the box.
Really?
And
you're kidding. There was no... Okay. Let's not gloss over that, okay? This is a $100 set of figures.
Correct.
$100 and no packing materials.
But we can't say anything.
Oh, no. We're saying something. I mean, you received yours the same as I did. Smaller size box and no packing materials. These are $100 set of figures. No packing materials. In my opinion, that's just not okay.
I completely agree with you, but we can't say anything, Scott.
Oh, I'm saying something. No. I paid $100 and I have a very limited budget. Okay? I'm sure a lot of people out there are in the same boat as me. When you invest money into your figures, you want them delivered safely, especially when you're an MOC guy. 2 of my 3 are going to stay MOC. I expect packing materials if I'm spending $100. I did not get that. Again, luckily, no damage, so I don't need to go through the channels to return them. But come on. I mean, packing materials should just be a given at this point, especially when people are dropping that kind of coin on collectibles.
So you said 2 of 3 are staying in package. Which one are you opening?
I'm opening the Hulk Rules because that's the one that's not limited edition. The one in the Red Hulkamania shirt and the quote-unquote American-made Hogan, those are the limited editions. I believe it's to 1,000. So those are going to stay in the package. But the Hulk Rules is like the mass release one, much like the black and white and the red and white, or the black, red, and white Hogans were, the NWO versions. Those weren't limited editions. There was a certain number they were making, but they weren't super limited to 1,000 like the red shirt or the Red Hulkamania shirt and the American-made Hogan are. So I'm going to open up the Hulk Rules. I'm going to put it side by side with the Mattel version, the Defining Moments. And I really have to, again, not doing loose, just doing MOC to MOC. Storm takes it.
I agree, dude. Storm kills it. There was a reason that Hogan was the #1 figure a few years back.
Yes.
In our eyes, at least. And they did it again. With these 3 Hogans, they're fantastic.
They really are.
Even capturing the rare red tank top and the white trunks. I mean, I can't believe it. Just every figure is fantastic. You're right, dude. They captured Hogan. They captured Hogan when it was the black and white Hogan.
Correct.
These ones are like damn near close to beating that one. I can't choose. It's like trying to choose your favorite kid, you know?
Yeah, right.
You can't. I love these figures. I think they're fantastic. Storm crushed it. Like you said, they figured out how to do Hogan right. And kudos to Storm. I can see them being figure of the year again.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge surprise. Of course, everybody knows my #1 is going to be the Macho Man Slim Jim. The Storm Hogan is, as much as I just raved about it, Macho Man Slim Jim, the SDCC, is still going to be my #1 of 2019. Spoiler alert. But this one's definitely going to be up there in the top 3. If you don't have yours yet, again, use code FullyPoseable. Get yourself 10% off. It's way worth it. It really is, guys. Pick any of the 3. I don't know if the limited edition ones have sold out yet, but if you are a Hogan fan, I know there's a lot of people that are not, but if you are a Hogan fan, this is definitely going to take you back to the 80s, and it's just incredible to me that Storm managed to take 90s Hogan and 80s Hogan and absolutely capture the best of both worlds. And they made the best NWO Hogan, and they've now made the best 80s Hogan. So Storm has absolutely crushed it. They got the Hogan license and just ran away. They got a touchdown with that thing.
So my question is now that you are going to pop open the yellow trunks and yellow tank top Hogan, where are you going to put it?
It is going to go into the blue WrestleMania 2 steel cage ring that you got me a few Christmases ago. I mean, it fits right in, dude. That's 80s era Hogan, 80s era steel cage. He belongs in that ring.
That's some figure photography stuff right there, dude.
Oh, for sure. And I know people have done it before, but yeah, absolutely. Get a Bundy figure, throw him in there with him. That Hogan is just so good. Solid investment, especially for the other 2 that are not the Hulk Rules one. They're limited editions. We all know what those things do in the future. So, again, if you don't have one yet, definitely go invest. They're a little on the pricey side, but, I mean, no more than what you're going to pay for a Boss Fights or... spoiler, a Super 7 NJPW figure, but well worth the money. Even if you could just get one of the 3, well worth it to have a killer looking 80s era Hogan in your collection. And again, not to knock Mattel, because they did have the best Hogan figure of all time up until Storm jumped in the game. Mattel absolutely knocked out of the park the Defining Moments Hogan, but this new Storm just takes the cake. It's incredible.
So I didn't really have much toy spotting because I didn't have much toy spotting luck. So I did go to All Pro Wrestling last Friday. I do want to get this one in. So I talked about the NWA tag title that I was going to get signed by Ricky and Robert. And I debated all week what pen am I going to use? And I finally decided I'm going to use what Steve from the PPW podcast told me. Just use the metallic Sharpie. I'm going to be happy with it. So I go to Target and I see that there is a silver metallic paint pen. And I'm like, oh, what's that? It has silver and the word metallic in it. What's this? And it's a paint pen? Like, now you're starting to hit all my senses, right? Now the brain is starting to go. And the dumbness in me is like, oh, that type of thing.
Paint, it says.
So I was like, it's worth a shot. Why not? So I get home and I try it out and I was like, oh, this pops. This looks good. So everybody is telling me, just use the Sharpie. Shut up. Just use the Sharpie. And I'm like, okay. But I have this silver metallic Sharpie that says paint pen on it. I can use this too, right? And everybody's like, no, just use the Sharpie that Steve from the PPW podcast got. So I was like, okay, yeah. Well, now it's getting time to leave for the show. And I put the silver metallic Sharpie in the bag. But then I put the silver metallic Sharpie paint pen in my bag also.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were. You just should have left it at home, dude.
Well, you saw the pictures. It looks good, dude. I mean, spoiler alert, they sign it, obviously. But, I mean, it looked great, didn't it?
It does look good. It does look really good. My concern is that your Hart Foundation Tag Team title belt is still holding the signatures after all these years, and that was signed in a silver Sharpie. I just want to hope and pray that signature stays on that tag team title as good as the Sharpie has held up over the years. Who knows? It may be perfect because Peyton got her white Bayley women's title signed by Bayley in red paint, and it's held up fine. So I'm hoping yours does the same.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry about it. So
it'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. Thanks for the concerns, but it'll be fine. Yeah. So I'm holding the tag title, and Ricky and Robert just keep looking over at me, and they're like, "Oh, like holy crap! He's got the NWA tag title."
So wait, you're standing in line, like waiting your turn, and they keep looking over at you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so I finally get up there, and they had a T-shirt that you can get on Pro Wrestling Tees, but it was sitting at their table. And I said, look, I just want a photo with you guys, sign the belt. And I said, how much is the T-shirt? And they go, everything's $40.
Damn. $40 for a shirt?
No. Plus the auto and plus the signature.
Whoa. Okay, pump the brakes.
Okay, go ahead.
You're telling me that one of the most decorated tag teams in the history of wrestling in the NWA.
Yes.
You got a T-shirt?
Yes.
A photo with both of them?
Yes.
And both of their signatures?
Correct.
For $40? For
$40.
Dude, Don West never had a deal that good back in the days of Shop at Home. Never. Not even the Scottie Pippen head bust was as good of a deal as the Rock and Roll Express gave you last Friday, sir. You got a hell of a deal.
What about the Mike Schmidt Phillies hat?
Well, I don't want to get off topic too much, but that was actually part of a box of cards that I bought. It came in 2 boxes of cards, and within those 2 boxes, you were guaranteed to get a, what is it called, a relic or something like that, a piece of memorabilia guaranteed to be worth $100. And it just depended on whatever card you pulled out. So I pulled out the card, and it either said, mail this in and we're going to send you the item, or the card itself said you want a Mike Schmidt autographed hat. So I think I spent $100 on the 2 boxes of cards, and I don't even know what happened to the cards. And I sold the Mike Schmidt hat, I think, for like $40 or $50 like 11 years ago. So
are you serious? Only 40 or 50?
Yeah, it was a Phillies hat. It was signed in silver Sharpie on the bill.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, that was sold years ago. I think I only got $40 or $50 for it, dude. So you got a way better deal. I got hosed by Don West. You got a hell of a deal from Ricky and Robert.
So I get up there and they said $40 for everything. I was all, look, I'm a size large, get the shirt, and I lay the belt out on the table. And Ricky and I reach into the bag and I take out the silver Sharpie paint pen, metallic.
Of course
Sharpie
you did.
Paint pen.
Of course you did.
So Ricky grabs it and he goes, you know what? I'm going to write 9-time champions on here.
Awesome.
I said, do what you want, man. Well, what he did is there's one little section that doesn't have a plate. And he signed in that one little section. I was hoping that each of them would sign on the opposite ends of the tag straps.
Yes, so when you display the full belt, there's a signature on either side, right?
Correct.
Balance. Yeah, I get it.
But Ricky just signed in this one little spot that didn't have a plate or any side plates. And I was like, oh, damn it. I was hoping that he would just sign nice big cursive right on one side and then Robert take the other. But they didn't do that. But they inscribed 9-time champs. I thought that was cool. And Robert takes the belt and he signs underneath Ricky. And they said, okay, are we getting a picture? And I said, yeah. So Robert holds up the belt and he's looking at it. And Robert goes, okay, let's get in for the picture. And he throws the belt over his shoulder and he's holding the belt. You can see in the picture, he's holding the belt.
And in your mind, I already know where you're going. In your mind, you're screaming, don't smudge the signature. Don't smudge the signature. Don't smudge the signature,
exactly. Robert. I'm like, well, one, I was like, don't smudge the signature. But then also I was like, holy crap, this is cool. Robert is holding the belt. I'm like, this is awesome. So you see in the picture, I've got my arm around Robert and Ricky's doing the I love you sign that they used to do and stuff. I was like, this is awesome. This is one of the greatest photos ever.
That's so great.
So they hand the belt back to me and they hand the Sharpie back to me. And Ricky turns around and he goes, did you like that tag belt? And I was like, oh yeah, I love that tag belt. And I said, this was one of my favorite belts growing up. And he goes, I'll tell you what, those belts were a lot lighter than the original ones. And I said, you mean the ones that like not the Bolsheviks, the Russians used to hold? And he goes, yep, those ones. He goes, in fact, it's the one on the promo photo. He goes, those belts would literally pull down my pants. He goes, but literally goes, that would just pull down my tights. He goes, so I had to adjust the belt to not be resting on the belt area around the waist. I was like, oh, dude, this is cool. And so, dude, I was gleaming all night. I was like, this belt is awesome. I would have the belt like sprawled out across Celeste and Mai's lap.
Like it's your child.
Dude, seriously. But I was like, I don't want to smudge the signature because I brought a backpack and I didn't want to put it in the backpack and the backpack rub against the signature. So
right.
Ended up, I left the belt out the whole show and it was laid across our lap. And dude, I just kept looking at the autograph and I'm like, even though they didn't sign across where I was hoping they would sign, it's cool getting their autograph right there. So then my brain started to go into overdrive.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm thinking, okay, they signed in one little part.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm. No, I pretty much know exactly where you're going with this, but go ahead.
So then I started thinking, I was like, okay, Ricky and Robert only signed in one little section where there's no nameplate. Or sorry, there's no side plate. And then I started thinking, I was like, so the straps on each side are still bare.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, how cool would it be to get Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane to sign the other side of the belt? Now my mind is going full blast because Mom came over and she's like, oh, that thing's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's awesome. And she goes, so am I gonna have to get this in a shadow box? And I'm like, hold off for right now.
Yeah, pump the brakes, Mom. I have grand plans.
So now my brain is starting to go, okay, I may need to get this signed by Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan on the opposite side of the straps, dude.
You know, one part of me is like, well, you've got the Heart Foundation one. It would be cool to have just the Rock and Roll Express above it. But when you think NWA tag team titles, Ricky and Robert, it's almost synonymous with Cornette and the Midnight Express. So,
correct.
You know what? As much as I would love to see a 1-to-1 on the wall, Heart Foundation, Rock and Roll Express, you're 100% correct that you should have Cornette and the Midnight Express sign the other side of that title. I'm sure you're already thinking ahead to WrestleCon.
That's where my brain went immediately.
That's a great idea. I don't fault that at all because now you could do a photo with the Midnight Express and have the photos stacked and then the title right next to it. That's a fantastic idea. I love that.
Yeah, it was funny too because I was sitting there and I'm like, I wish the autographs were bigger, but it's okay. It's okay. And then my brain's going, how cool would it be to have Bobby and Sweet Stan sign each side of that? And I said, even though the Rock and Roll Express was my favorite and they just have one little section on the belt, how cool would it be to take up a big chunk of the belt? And even if I could get Dennis Condrey, I'll even take Dennis Condrey on there along with Sweet Stan, along with Bobby Eaton, along with Cornette.
Yes.
But to have all of them have their signatures on that belt, dude. Oh my God.
I'm going to throw one more out there for you.
Nikita?
No. Arn and Tully.
Oh.
They held those titles too. And it was the Four Horsemen in there too. So that wouldn't suck either if you had Arn and Tully sign it.
And Barry and Luger?
Oh, see, you got to bring up Heartache for me.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so in terms of what we discussed when Bayley turned heel, how Peyton took it,
yes,
I guess the closest thing to that for me would have been when Barry turned on Luger. That was soul-crushing for me. I loved Luger and Wyndham as a team. And when Barry turned on Lex in that match, that is definitely not one you saw coming. There was no slow build to that. Like, Barry just turned on Luger, and you're like, wait, what? What? They just won those belts. Like, what do they do? Or what's Barry doing? Like, that was shocking to me. So please don't have them sign that title, because it's going to crush my soul every time I see it.
No, I won't get them to sign it, but I will be seeing if there's a way to get Condrey, Eaton, and Lane and Cornette to sign that belt also.
Yeah, dude, you know what? You should tweet Cornette. Like, send him a picture of the title and be like, you know, if there's any way you can, like, make an appearance somewhere on the West Coast with your boys, like, bring it out, dude. I need to get the other side of this signed. I know he rarely comes out to the West Coast, but dude, WrestleCon for sure. Maybe hit him up, see if there's any plans for WrestleCon for those guys.
Well, the other thing is, too, is I want to get the rest of that 2-pack signed of Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan from the Jax Classic.
Oh, right. That's right. And if you bought the Cornette FTC figure, you could have him sign that as well.
Yep, exactly. Because I think they sell Cornette's signature one on the site, right?
Correct.
Nothing against FTC. I like how they do that, but I like being there in person to see them sign the figure. That it's just one of those memory things that comes back.
Dude, I'm totally with you.
I understand why FTC does it for the people that may not have Cornette come to their area or anything like that.
Which we don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or an Evilise or whoever they've signed. Tama Tonga is another. I understand why they do it, but I enjoy being there and seeing them sign my figure and sign that figure or have any stories or anything to go along with that figure. So,
oh no, I 100% agree with you, dude. It's awesome that FTC offers that. But me personally as a collector, I've got 2 signatures on my wall that I did not get in person. I sent the figures away and got COAs back with the figures themselves, and that's Hogan and Warrior. And those are 2 for me that I would have loved to have gotten in person, but unfortunately they didn't come to the West Coast to do any signings, so I had to send them away. But it's very cool that FTC does that, but I'm with you 100%. I would prefer to get it signed in person. So, dude, that's a great idea on the Midnights, adding their signatures to that title. Great call.
Yep, so now my brain's in overdrive right now.
And dude, huge thanks to Travis Fowler for hooking that up, putting you in touch with somebody that could provide that title, because you and I were just talking about that last week, and then all of a sudden our conversations just went into overdrive, and it was like, we've got to make this happen. So I'm so happy that it all kind of fell into place, and huge thanks to Travis Fowler for hooking you up with the guy that provided the title.
Yeah, and it was cool seeing the Rock and Roll Express wrestle. I mean, obviously they're in their 60s. They're not moving around like they used to in their 30s, obviously, but...
Well, of course.
It was still a great moment just seeing them wrestle.
Oh, it's a nostalgia trip for sure.
I did not see the double drop kick, though. That one killed me.
Oh, that sucks. Hey, you know, the Rock and Roll Express are long overdue for figures. Yes, they had the classic superstars. No, they were not the greatest figures. But wouldn't it be cool if, like, Storm or even FTC, if they could somehow get the rights to do the Rock and Roll Express? I would love to see somebody put a 2-pack of the Rock and Roll Express out. Long overdue for a good set of figures.
I don't think Storm would do it. Honestly, don't think so. But I could see FTC jumping in there and getting Ricky and Robert.
Yeah, somebody has to. Or Mattel, somebody needs to put out Rock and Roll Express figures. I would actually love to see what FTC could do with them. I bet the outfits would just be awesome. And those long raincoats that Ricky and Robert used to wear too.
Well, that was my night. I was beaming from ear to ear. At 1, after meeting them, 2, after seeing them wrestle. As I said, they're not doing the stuff that they did back in the 80s, but I mean, it's still that nostalgia. And Scott always says nostalgia wins out on the show.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. And well, you know, maybe for new listeners, Jeff, that don't really know your obsession with the Rock and Roll Express, that's your favorite tag team of all time. Like, that's why you're so excited for new listeners that don't know. Like, Rock and Roll Express is your jam, dude. Like, you grew up loving those guys, and to this day at 40 years old, like, you still love those guys.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Express, they were my team. I loved the Bulldogs. I loved the Heart Foundation. I loved the Midnight Rockers. But the Rock and Roll Express was godlike to me. They were Okada when I was a kid, right?
Okada in trunks.
But that's the way they were to me. They were up there with Hogan. And that's the way I viewed them as a kid. Is I love the Rock and Roll Express. That was the other thing too. They wore their tights that they were black up top, but Ricky wore the blue. Remember how on the bottom of the leg, kind of down towards the calf area, it turned blue?
Yeah.
And Robert wore the purple. And I was like, oh, those are the tights that they wore back in the 80s. This is great, you know?
And they actually wore the ring gear when they took the picture?
No, they did after the show because they just got done wrestling. And so they were doing the merch stand after the show.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Before the show is when I got my belt signed and the picture with them.
I see. Oh, dude, that actually kind of sucks that you didn't know that they were going to do those photos after the matches, because typically it's done before. It's not really done after. To get a picture with them in their ring gear, that actually would have been really cool too.
That's okay, dude. It's all right.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it was a bad thing, but if you had known, do you think maybe you would have gone that route instead?
Possibly. I don't know. I'm just happy with the way everything turned out. The belt looks good. Now I may be adding more signatures to it. Robert throwing the belt over his shoulder and holding it. I mean, that was awesome to me. Seeing them wrestle, that was awesome. It was such a great night and so nostalgia filled that everything just went right. And I was so happy with the way everything went. From them signing the belt to all of that costing $40. And
that's incredible.
I know, dude. So anyways, it was great, dude. It was just great time. Loved it. Had a great time. It was great.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. I know that's not your first time meeting Ricky and Robert, but this time
Correct.
Sounds like it was way more memorable and meaningful. I'm glad you got to experience that.
And I went with Paint Pen. Told you I was going to.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And it still came out great. That's all that matters.
It'll look good on the wall.
Scott, we do have a little bit of news. What do you say we jump into it?
Let's talk about it.
Scott, some good news from Mattel came across the other day. This was published on Tuesday, October 29th. Quick little glimpse, Mattel posted better than expected earnings for the third quarter. The company said it would be hiring a new chief financial officer in the wake of a whistleblower investigation. In the story, it says shares of Mattel jumped as much as 20% in extended trading Tuesday after the company posted better than expected earnings for the third quarter and announced it would be hiring a new chief financial officer. Company also said auditors had completed their investigation into allegations that the company had made accounting errors in historical periods. Auditors determined that the income tax expense was understated by $109 million in the third quarter of 2017 and overstated by $109 million in the fourth quarter of 2017, with no impact for the full year, the company said. The company will amend its 2018 annual report to restate its financial results for the third and fourth quarters of 2017 and said it would work to identify weaknesses in its internal control over financial reporting.
Do you think it's going to be Chinese New Year? You think that'll be the culprit?
Jeremy Potter's like blaming Chinese New Year for this one. The whistleblower letter had been made public in August as Mattel was nearing a sale of senior notes due in 2027. Shares fell sharply as investors reacted to Mattel having to halt the bond offering. By wrapping up the investigation without finding any fraud, Mattel can now go back and do a new bond offering. We plan to return to the debt market to refinance the $250 million of senior notes maturing in October 2020, CFO Joseph Entrepreneur said during an earnings call. Mattel said it earned $70.6 million or 20 cents a share in the quarter compared with $6.3 million or 2 cents a share in the year-ago period. Excluding one-time items, the company earned 26 cents a share. Analysis had forecasted earnings of 16 cents per share. Revenue rose to $1.48 billion, beating the $1.43 billion estimate analysis had forecast Refinitiv. The earnings beat is good news for Mattel, which has been working on a strategic turnaround plan since bringing Kreitz to the helm in 2018. Still, brands like American Girl and Fisher-Price continue to weigh on sales. While sales of Barbie were up 10% in the quarter, American Girl sales fell 14%. The company's infant, toddler, and preschool category also saw sales slump 11%. Action figures, building sets, games saw combined growth of 12%, the company said, and the vehicles segment rose 13% during the quarter, with sales of Hot Wheels up 25%. So that is good news for Mattel, dude.
It's great news. Imagine if they had a set of Midnight Express figures. I mean, those numbers are great and all, but they would have been astronomically higher if they had Midnight Express figures, and sky's the limit if they released British Bulldogs figures. Where's the news on that now, Mattel?
I think that's good news for Mattel, man. I mean, we've been hearing the dreadful news of them losing money and blah, 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 blah. And the fact that they put out these Q3, as they put it, earnings, that's great news, man. And I would also like to point out that I think our show has turned them around for a big portion of that in the WWF sales.
You know, I agree with you. They didn't say it in that specific piece, but I think it went without saying. They didn't need to mention this. We might have been in the footnotes of that article, I would imagine. But yeah, well, you're welcome, Mattel. You're welcome.
I mean, us just doing the podcast weekly has now put more eyes on their figures. So yeah, 1 and 1 equals 2 on this one, Scott.
Exactly. I agree.
That's not egotistical at all, is it?
Hi, you might remember us from such shows as The Toys That Made Us.
Scott, also, Jushin Thunder Liger action figure from Storm Collectibles is up and available to add to your cart at stormco.com.hk. It is pricey for the shipping. It's $55 for the Jushin Thunder Liger figure, and if you order directly from Storm, it's going to be quite a bit on shipping. So best to find other routes if you are looking to save some coin.
That sucks.
If you are interested, the Jushin Thunder Liger figure is up and available to purchase. stormco.com.hk. Great looking figure, man. There's no way I'm not going to go without it, man. That figure is just so gorgeous.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's like they took Jushin Liger and just squished him down into a doll, and it's perfect. Like, absolutely incredible. I can't say enough good things about it. Much like I was gushing earlier about the Hogan, this Liger figure is as good. It's incredible. Is it worth, what is it, almost $90? Maybe wait until you find it stateside, but for what you're going to get, well worth the $30 to $40 to $50 price tag for sure.
Did you call it a doll?
Well, I mean, like they squished him down to doll size. Like they took the real Jushin Liger and squished him down to like doll size.
Action figure size.
Okay. So they took Jushin Liger and squished him down to action figure size. Is that better, Jeff?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
I do that to my director all the time because he'll call wrestling figures dolls. I'm like, huh? You mean action figures, right?
Figures of action, sir.
Scott, this past Friday, pre-orders went up for Super 7's New Japan of Pro Wrestling figures. In this line, it is Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay. So here's the details regarding these figures that just went up for pre-order at preorder.super7, the number 7, store.com. That's where you can pre-order these figures. They will charge your card at checkout. So if you want to wait a little bit, you might want to look at other options. Maybe Entertainment Earth will be another option if you want to wait and have them take out the money when the figures ship. That is another option you can do. And here are the details regarding the 4 figures. Kazuchika Okada, my favorite wrestler going today. Okada will come with alternate heads. He will have kind of a scowling look and a regular look. Necklace, he will have a stack of Okada bucks. Heavyweight title, and he will have a cloth entrance robe. And for anybody that saw the pictures this past week, the rendering did not have the cloth entrance robe. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe they're still working on it. Who knows? But it will be coming with a cloth entrance robe. Tomohiro Ishii, he will have kind of like a growling face. Tomohiro Ishii will have alternate heads, folding chair, never open weight heavyweight championship, and a cloth t-shirt. Tanahashi will also be in this. Tanahashi will be coming with alternate heads. He will have a grinning look, a smiling look, also guitar, Championship title belt. They didn't say which one, but I'm thinking it's the Intercontinental title, and a cloth long jacket that was in the rendering. And last, but certainly not least, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay will have alternate heads. He will come with a sword.
A sword?
A sword.
A sword. Yes.
Sword. Emphasis on the W. He will come with the Juniors Trophy, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship belt, and a cloth sleeveless hooded sweatshirt. Now, each figure is in an Elite style type body. All those accessories will be coming with the figures for $45 plus shipping and handling. Scott, Super 7 delivered on these figures. What's your opinion about them?
I think they're excellent. And again, we've spoken many, many times about tempering your expectations when it comes to renderings. And that's what we've seen so far is just a rendering. Given Super 7's history and quality, there's no reason to think that their rendering isn't going to translate directly to how good the figure looks because the renderings are outstanding. The figures, I'm sure, are going to follow suit. But again, it's a wait and see. We have to temper expectations. American Alpha, I'm looking directly at you right now. It's just what we've learned over the years. You can't get too excited off our rendering because a lot of times the finished product will not look as good as the rendering did. But again, going back to Super 7's history with quality, there's no reason to think that it won't translate over to the figure. The price point is high. I'm going to be perfectly honest. What is it, $45 you said, Jeff?
$45 per figure. Please take note, everyone, because I had to answer that question so many times this past week on Twitter. It is $45 per figure.
Yeah, that's pretty steep. You're talking 2.5 times the normal retail cost of a Mattel Elite. Again, as we've spoken to Chris over the years, we know that there are advantages to being the size of Mattel and that you can keep your costs down when it comes to distributing these figures. Super 7 doesn't have that luxury. They're not the size of Mattel, hence the higher price point. We saw with Mass Republic Boss Fight Lucha figures, those things are $38 on pre-order right now. These being the Super 7 figures, are about $8 more than that. I'm not saying that price point is not justified, but this is definitely catering to the more hardcore collector than it is your average kid going to the store with their parents asking them to buy them a figure, a la you and I collecting LJN and Hasbro figures back in the day, Jeff. This is not what we would have been going to the store for. This is definitely more in the collector/hardcore realm than it is the average retail kid asking their parent for a figure. So, with all of that said, these things are beautiful. I love all of the accessories that they come with. The multiple heads, Okada's jacket, Ospreay's jacket, Tanahashi's jacket. Ishii is coming with a cloth shirt. Of course, we did not see any of the cloth accessories with the exception of Tanahashi's jacket in the renderings. We don't know how good the Okada jacket's going to be. Again, going on Super 7's history, it's going to be amazing. They're going to knock it out of the park. But when it comes to that price point, rest assured that if you drop the $45 per figure, you're going to get what you're paying for. If you're a fan of NJPW, more specifically, you're a fan of any of these 4 guys that are in this first assortment, it's going to be well worth your money. You're going to be thrilled with what you get. Super 7, their quality, the sculpts, everything about their figures are incredible. There are zero complaints from me when it comes to Super 7. The NJPW line is going to be no exception to that. Well worth the $45 price tag. A ton of accessories. I did read, Jeff, that they're going to be in like a slip box, meaning there's going to be like an outer shell, I would imagine, with a picture of what the guy looks like, and you pull the internal box out of that, like you pull the slip off, and I would imagine it have a plastic front where you can see the figure presented, much like a Storm Collectibles, but Storm does not come with the cardboard slip on the outside. So I think it's justified. But again, this is definitely catering to that hardcore NJPW fan that really has no problem dropping $45 on one figure, Jeff.
Scott, do you think that the price point is going to be a deterrent going forward for Super 7 and New Japan line?
Well, you and I had spoken about this off the show about the Super 7 NJPW line moving forward. The 4 names in this first assortment, Okada, Ishii, Tanahashi, Ospreay, I can see 2 of those being the two that people say I have no problem dropping the $45 on, and those two are Okada and Tanahashi. I think Ospreay for a lot of people is going to be, well, he's cool. The cloth jacket really kicks it up over the top, so okay, I'll buy an Ospreay. Ishii is the one to me that's a concern in Series 1. I don't know if Super 7 is producing an equal number of all four of these guys, or if there are going to be, say, more Okadas and fewer Ishiis. I don't know the answer to that, but I can see Ishii being the one that people are like, look, I'm dropping 45 on Okada, 45 on Tanahashi, 45 on Ospreay. I'm $135 into this. Do I really want to kick it up to 180 and buy the entire set? Again, can you take the wallet heat? That's up to each individual. But I see Ishii being the one that people are like, okay, I'm going to buy 2 of the 4, or I'm going to buy 3 of the 4, and Ishii is going to be left off of a lot of people's lists. I just don't think that, and I could be wrong, Jeff, because I'm not the hardcore NJPW fan here. I can't see Ishii being up there with Okada that people are like, yeah, I'm clamoring to get the Ishii figure and not the Okada. So again, I don't know the numbers on each guy produced, if it's equal, or if there's more Okadas and Tanahashis than Ospreays and Ishiis, but I can see Ishii being the one that's not going to get the $45 justification, if you will, from the hardcore collectors. Now, moving forward, you would imagine that Series 2 is definitely going to have Naito.
Yes.
And
I don't know about Jay White. I don't know the contract status with FTC. Evil, Sonata could be in there. I think Tonga would be in there. I'm trying to think of who the fourth person would be. Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi would be it. You know him well, Scott.
I do. I sang songs to him inside of a CVS in New Orleans. I don't think he remembers that, unless I'm the stupid American that was like singing to him in a CVS and demanded a picture outside. God, I hate drunk squats sometimes. But as you move forward down the series, you're going to get into, this is not an insult by any stretch, but you're getting more into like your second tier players. I think that Naito and Jay White would be extremely popular figures in Series 2. Kota Ibushi absolutely would be a popular guy for Series 2, but you're going to get into a situation where people are like, okay, I'll spend 45 on A and B, but I won't spend 45 on C and D. So you're going to be left with guys that aren't moving as well as others. And then you get deeper in the series, you're dealing with more second tier and then third and fourth tier players that may not necessarily justify that $45 price point. That's my concern for Super 7 moving forward. However, if they can supplement this line with playsets, accessories, wrestling rings, then I think it's going to help them move more figures with the more playsets you have, because you're going to want to fill your ring with more guys in there to display. So we'll see what happens moving forward. We're just getting the very tip of the iceberg here. Just the tip, Jeff. And we don't know who's going to fill the rest of the Super 7 series moving forward with NJPW. We don't know what accessories we're going to get. We don't know what variations of the ring that we're going to get. We don't know what accessory packs, if they're going to do like Master Republic Boss Fight, if they're going to do accessory packs. There's all of these cool things, all of these neat directions that this line can go. But right off the bat, the $45 price point is going to be an immediate deterrent to the casual collector who may want to buy just one of them. But as the hardcore collectors, Jeff, we need to really, and I know I've been saying this a lot lately, but it's very true, we need to put our money where our mouth is and keep this moving forward. This line dies if we don't invest in it and make it a thing and make it profitable for Super 7 to continue. The line's just going to die. So we've all been clamoring for these New Japan figures. I'm going to pre-order an Okada. Absolutely going to pre-order an Okada. I've been clamoring for one. We've been talking about an Okada figure for years now. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm at least going to buy one. Now, I'm fairly certain, Jeff, that you are going to be buying all four of them.
Correct.
Now, moving forward, to kind of turn your question around back on you, without fantasy booking Series 2, 3, and 4, is it going to be a deterrent to you to be spending $180 plus shipping per series of NJPW Super 7?
Depends on who's in the line. Like, This line is so new that I could see a lot of the hardcore New Japan fans going, I have to have all 4.
Yes, absolutely. That's who they're catering to right now.
Correct. Then the second series is going to hit, and then hypothetically, let's say it's Kota, Naito, Evil, and Sonata, 3 people from LIJ. You still got some big names with Kota and Naito in there, but do people really, are there really that big of fans for Evil? We'll find out. I mean, I know Evil's big in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Sonata is getting the rub from a lot of people, but do people like them enough to spend $45 on them? And they will get the money from the hardcores, but it's going to be that second tier fan base, like the casuals, like you, Scott. Are the casuals going to drop the money on them? We don't know. Then you start getting to the third tier, and then we could be talking about Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. And then we could be talking about, oh man, I'm drawing a blank, right?
What about Shibata?
Oh, Shibata would be such an awesome one to get. But that one's a tough one. That would be a tough sell since he's not on New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. That would be tough. People, the hardcores would be clamoring for that one. That would be tough since he's not on TV. Chris has talked about that. Does this guy have a presence right now on TV somewhere, out and about? You got to get those fans that are watching the product and then they want to get a figure. Now, they haven't seen Shibata in close to 2 years. How many people know who Shibata is that are going to go out and get that figure? That's going to be the tough part.
Right.
You could be looking at junior heavyweights. You could be looking at Ishimori. You could be looking at the names are endless. I'm drawing a blank right now who would be booked for that line. But basically going back, it goes back to the casual collectors. Who do the casuals want? Like you said, Scott, you do want that Okada figure.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get the Okada figure. Are there other casual fans that are just like, oh, I just want Okada and Tanahashi. That's
right.
it. And then how many casual fans out there are going to be like, I want Okada, Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay? It depends on the casual collectors, because with the hardcores, they've got our money. But it's now going to be on the casual collectors, in my eyes, who they want. And are they going to help drive this to put out a Series 2? Or the next set of 4? Or to put out the next set of 4 after that? Like you said, we have to put our money where our mouth is. The hardcore collectors are. I've already heard from them. They are putting their money where their mouth is. And a lot of them have already pre-ordered all 4. I know some other friends that have pre-ordered all 4. Now it's up to the casual collectors and see who they want. And will they be enough to push Super 7 going forward?
One thing that we don't know, Jeff, is the frequency that these sets of 4 are going to be released. We know Series 1, we're looking at around June, roughly. I don't know how quickly Series 2 is going to follow that. And then in turn, Series 3, Series 4. If this is, say, a twice-a-year set, I could see even casual collectors going, okay, fine. If it's once every 6 months, I will drop my 180 on all 4 guys. Even the casual collector, I think, as long as they're not released like quarterly, to where you're dropping $180 4 times a year, it might be an easier pill to swallow. While you want all 4, your wallet may put a little bit of heat on you to not allow you to buy all 4, but maybe if it's once every 6 months as opposed to once every 3 months, that might be a little bit easier to take. I don't know the frequency. I'm spitballing here, but with the $45 price point, I would imagine those figures, Jeff, are going to be every 4 to 6 months. And I think maybe Super 7 would be better served to push the future series. Series 1's going to be no problem for them. But it's Series 3 and Series 4 and Series 5 where we mentioned you're getting into the second, third, fourth tier players that maybe less is more, meaning fewer series per year. The casual and hardcore collectors both are going to part with the $180 and go ahead and buy every single figure available. Another thing to consider too, they're going to be creating the reaction style figures, the 3 3/4 inch in the NJPW as well. So maybe your casual collector would be more prone to want to go that route as opposed to dropping the $45 on the elite style figure, quote unquote elite style. Maybe the 3 3/4 inch at a $15 price point is a little more palatable for them. But again, we'll have to see what the numbers are. Super 7 will dictate moving forward how much they're going to release of this. But the more sales they get, obviously, the more play sets, accessories, wrestling rings, etc., they're going to put on the table for this line moving forward. And again, we're just at the very tip of the iceberg. It's going to be super interesting to see where Super 7 goes with this line moving forward.
Also, the pre-orders are only up for the month of November. So if you guys want Christmas presents and the wife doesn't have anything for you yet, you can hit up these pre-orders and then you get those in the middle of next year and you're like, yes, Merry Christmas to me.
Christmas in June.
Yes, exactly. It's like that Hallmark thing, Christmas in June, Christmas in July, whatever it is. But anyways, the pre-orders are only up for the month of November. So that's when you need to jump on these.
But they will be available in their store in June, correct, Jeff? So you could just go purchase them with everybody else. But the pre-orders, you're just going to have yours shipped right to your door.
Correct. The gentleman that is working on these, I forget his name. I think his name is TJ. I think he said roughly around May or June, these figures should be at your door.
Yeah, and again, I'm a huge fan of what Super 7 does outside of NJPW. So knowing the incredible work they do on their figures outside of NJPW, I'm super excited to see what they do with this line moving forward. I'm so excited that there's another player in the game, in addition to Masked Republic, Boss Fight, Lucha figures, FTC, Storm Collectibles. Let's not forget they've got a Jushin Liger figure coming out that you can now throw into the ring with your Okada and JPW figure or your Will Ospreay and have some killer matches there. And you can throw Pentagon Jr. in for a triple threat match. You can use the accessory pack from Masked Republic Boss Fight. You can have a dog collar match, a ladder match with those three guys. Just the possibilities are endless. And I'm very, very excited to have a quality player like Super 7 in the wrestling game now making the NJPW line.
Scott, also, one quick little Mattel note. Elite 73, Elias, he comes with a guitar, extra hands, gray scarf, black t-shirt. Triple H, he's got the jacket with the hood, and he'll be coming with that little mouth thing that motorcyclists wear. Grand Metalik, he will be coming with gold jacket, blue outfit, the chase. Okay, now I've got to get my chases and my variants correct. I got called out on this. So I go back to the McFarlane Sports figures, where if you saw a Tom Brady with dirty jersey that was different from the regular release, it was called a variant.
Correct. Not a chase. It was a variant.
Correct. So I kind of go, I always retort back to that. I've been trying to do better because they're saying the chase is the opposite figure. So it's like Grand Metalik is in the blue. People say the chase is Grand Metalik in the black. Well, to me, that's the variant. So it's all about the lingo. We're saying the same.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing, but I'm using different lingo. I kind of go, as I said, I go back to the McFarlane Sports. So the variant is the Grand Metalik in the black. Daniel Bryan, he'll be coming with the hemp belt and 2 extra set of hands. Aleister Black, he will have this sick-looking black jacket with spikes sticking out of him. Gray trunks.
He wore that at a takeover. I don't recall which one it was last year that he wore that at, but he wore it at a takeover, and it's an incredible-looking vest with the spikes coming out, and he's got the alternate color, like one is black and one is gray on his boots. Killer-looking Aleister figure.
And last but not least is Kairi Sane. This one is awesome. She has a white jacket on. She's got that blue, is it blue or purple? Close enough. Blue or purple. Pirate hat. She's got the ship wheel, and she has that telescope. So awesome looking figures for Elite 73. Which ones you getting, Scott?
Oh, Elias for sure. I absolutely love that Elias figure. The Kairi Sane, I love that figure as well. That one's definitely getting purchased. We've all been screaming for a Kairi Sane with the pirate wheel, and they absolutely nailed it. The figure is perfect. I love it. I can't wait for that assortment to come out because I'm definitely purchasing. Aleister is most likely going to get purchased for the wife. She loves Aleister. But definitely picking up the Elias and the Kairi Sane.
Sorry, purple pirate hat. That was my fault. I zoomed in on the picture and it was purple. Anyways, that's the Elite 73. Those images were all shown. We had talked about those before, but now that all the images were together, we thought we'd talk about them one more time. Now, Scott, it is time to end the Mattel Legends line, unfortunately, and this is going to make me sad.
Me too. I've loved talking about this line. It's been great revisiting it. From what I understand, Jeff, you said a lot of listeners have really enjoyed going back and talking about these. And hopefully we've maybe touched you guys in a way that makes you want to go back and start collecting either some of the ones you missed Or if you're getting into the figure game now, you can kind of go back and start collecting these things piece by piece. And yeah, it's going to cost a lot, but wait till you start adding them to your collection. You're going to love seeing them hanging up or even loose in your collection.
So Scott, without further ado, what do you say we jump into it?
Let's talk about them.
I came to play. There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees.
Scott, it's with great sadness that we end out the Mattel Legends, but we're going to do it with Matty Collector. What's that, dude?
Yeah, so we're going to go out with style. We're going to talk Matty Collector. What is that, you ask, Jeff? Well...
yeah, I don't know what this is.
Okay, well, since you're new to the game, let me tell you about Matty Collector. Matty Collector was the exclusive on... I got your sarcasm, by the way.
New to the game, you jerk.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Toy spotting since 1980s, dude.
I know. So Matty Collector was a great resource for the hardcore collectors. It was Mattel's online version of a store. It was their retail store where they offered exclusives. And these exclusives included tag teams and singles. What they did is they released them, I would say like once a quarter or once every other month. They would tell you when they were going on sale. They all had the same price point. You would go on when they went on sale, buy them, but there were only so many available, and when they were gone, they were gone. So, without prolonging this any further, here are the Matty Collector's exclusives in the singles. First up, Andre the Giant, and this would have been heel WrestleMania 3 Andre the Giant. He came with the World Heavyweight Championship, and Jeff, to your credit, in keeping with your tradition that you started at the end of the singles, I'll go into the price points of the current eBay auctions. Next up, Diamond Dallas Page, and he came with a vest. King Kong Bundy, and he was in his traditional King Kong Bundy outfit, came with a Bundy t-shirt, straight from the 80s. And last but certainly not least, the Brainbusters. They were packaged individually, and each came with the Tag Team Championship belt, and that was Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Going over to the eBay listings on these, Andre the Giant, there are currently 11 listings on eBay, ranging from $99 to $162. Diamond Dallas Page currently has 6 listings, ranging from $43 to $98. King Kong Bundy, currently 2 listings on eBay, both, wow, $200.
That one kills me. Back when Bundy was on the docket for WrestleCon this past year, before he passed away, I was looking at those figures and I was like, man, there is no way I'd spend $110 for that Bundy figure. And I looked up the listings today and there are 2 buy it nows, one for $199.99 and an even $200. Again, these do have shipping attached to it. I didn't bother adding the shipping, so you guys can kind of figure where they would land as far as shipping would be. But anyways, continue, Scott.
Man, that is crazy. $200 for Bundy.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson, 3 current listings ranging from $103 to $125. And finally, Tully Blanchard. And there are 4 listings for him ranging from $89 to $250.
Yeah, a lot of buy it nows for Andre, and I do want to thank Christopher Dean. Christopher Dean, a couple years back, actually went to Frank & Sons and went to Anthony's booth over at Frank & Sons, and he picked up the Andre loose for me, and he knew I wanted that figure, but I skipped on it when it originally came out, and I regretted it. And to Christopher Dean's credit, as a Christmas gift to us, he got me the Andre the Giant with the heavyweight title from Anthony at Frank & Sons.
Dude, Christopher's a hell of a guy. He really is.
Dude, I love Christopher, dude. Him and I text about every other day, if not every day. He's such a great guy.
He really
can't
is.
say enough good things about him. And I was happy to meet him down at Frank & Sons when I went and picked up all those Jax figures.
Next, Jeff, we're going to get into the 2-packs. Now, Matty Collector offered only 1 2-pack of the Mattel Legends. However, Toys R Us got in 3 2-packs. And it was strictly Toys R Us that got them. They were not Matty Collector, so I'm going to get into the 2-packs now. First up, the Matty Collector exclusive 2-pack. I'm going to say the Midnight Rockers. The Rockers, Jeff. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. There are currently 8 listings for them. And by the way, the Rockers came with the Rocker t-shirts. There are 8 listings on eBay, currently ranging from $175 to $300.
Ridiculous.
It really is.
Absolutely asinine. I mean, are they cool figures? Yeah. I mean, but are they $300 cool figures?
If somebody will pay it, absolutely they are.
If you're asking me, I don't think they're $300 figures. I mean, they're cool. I do think they're cool, but not $300. You're telling me those are up there with Harley Race? Those are up there with who else? I think there was somebody else that was $300 that we just recently read off. I can't remember.
These are limited numbers too. There's not a lot of Marty Jannetty figures in the Mattel line. And there were only a certain number of these produced, so supply and demand, dude.
At what point do you just start going, okay, I'm not going to pay these ridiculous prices for Mattel, so I'm going to just go get Jax. I just need a Marty Jannetty figure.
Well, that's an option too. That is an option. And I know people were taking actually the Shawn Michaels head off of the Retrofest figure, and basically they were just making a Marty Jannetty head with it, and then they were making rocker sets off of that. So that would be an option too. You have a Shawn Michaels, you buy another Shawn Michaels, paint the hair, and you call it the Rockers.
Man, that's such a hefty price tag, dude.
No, it really is. I'm not going to argue with it all. I'm happy I have them. You got them for me for Christmas one year. One thing I didn't mention about the Matty Collector figures too is they came in a white box, and it had the name of the figure on the white box.
Yes, thank you for adding that.
Which made it great for shipping purposes because you weren't too worried about the white box getting damaged in shipping because your MOC figure was inside the white box. So it was perfectly protected.
Yeah, and actually had packing inside too. So
it did. Hey, they did it right. Not everybody can say that, Jeff. And rounding out the 2-packs, these would be Toys R Us exclusives. Roddy Piper and Bob Orton. And I am fortunate enough to have this set on my wall signed by both. Roddy Piper was in his... It really is, dude. Roddy Piper was in his kilt, no shirt. Bob Orton had the black vest and black hat on. Currently 5 listings on eBay ranging from... This is crazy. And I'll get into why this is crazy at the end of the 2-pack talk. 5 listings ranging from $135 to $200. Next up.
Insane.
Oh, it is. And once we're done with the last 2-pack in this, I'll get to why that's insane, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to say. Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Currently 1 listing with a damaged card, $109. Sheik had his white robe and white headdress on. Nikolai Volkov had his traditional red Soviet Union jacket on. And last but definitely not least, in the Mattel 2-packs that were exclusive to Toys R Us, the Bushwhackers. Currently 1 listing on eBay for $125. That's a damaged card. Bushwhackers were in their traditional Bushwhackers costumes or outfits, and they had hats. The crazy part about these prices, Jeff, is when Toys R Us got these, they sat around on the pegs for days. The Mattel Legends line was dead and gone, but like zombies, these things just lived on the pegs forever to the point where they were finally clearanced out, long gone. Then all of a sudden, supply and demand again, prices just shot up, skyrocketed on these things. They were what, $20 on the pegs?
Oh, dude, they would have deals for them where like it was like buy one, get the next one 50% off, or they were trying to move these things and they couldn't.
Yeah, to where you could get like 2 of them for $30.
Exactly.
Could I go back, please? Just jump in a time machine real quick. I'm going to go back and just get all 3 sets of these. We'll call it a day. Like, come on. That's just ridiculous how plentiful these were. And you could say that for a lot of the Legends figures. They were so plentiful on the pegs, and now the prices of them are just through the roof. Yes, the line is about 7 years removed, 7 or 8 years removed, but the value of these things has just skyrocketed. We'll round out the Matty Collectors. This one is another Mattel Legends. It was RSC exclusive. Macho King Randy Savage, Jeff, which actually turns out to be a lot of people's favorite in all of the WWE Legends figures, and for good reason. Macho King Randy Savage had his crown, his robe, his scepter, and on eBay there are currently 6 listings, and they range from $130 to $175. It is a beautiful, beautiful figure. Not the best Randy Savage, because that belongs to the Macho Man SDCC Slim Jim, but this one is definitely in the top 5, and this actually would be a lot of people's favorite Randy Savage. It's a beautiful figure.
I got that one for you for Christmas too.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And so thanks to you, I got the Rockers and Macho Man, and I don't have to try to go back and collect those because those are 2 that I would, or 3 technically, that I would really want hanging up on my wall. That Randy Savage is so good. There was a reason we saved it for last. They captured him just perfectly. If you've never seen it, go look it up. The RSC exclusive Macho King Randy Savage. It's beautiful. it is better than the traditional Macho Man that they released in the earlier series. This one is just head and shoulders better than that one. It's the best Macho Man out of the WWE Legends series.
So I actually have a funny story regarding that Macho. You, Randy, and special guest Sean came over one day to watch an ROH pay-per-view with me. And I had gotten this box in, and it had your Christmas gift of the Macho Man in it. So I knew what was in there because I knew I had ordered that for you, and I got it on a sale or something like that. So I take the box into the other room, and I pop open the box, and I'm like, okay, cool. I said, this is Scott's Christmas gift. I'm looking at the figure, and I'm like, Scott doesn't know I have this for him.
I need to.
It's a couple months before Christmas. I could just hold on to this because it's such a great looking figure. And I sat there and debated, do I keep this figure and just get Scott something else for Christmas? And I was like, no, Scott is the biggest Macho Man fan and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, Scott's going to get this figure. Scott will get this figure.
You were almost a horrible person, dude.
Hey, you would have never known. You would have been like, oh, cool, you got the Macho Man figure. Yeah, dude, sure did.
Yeah, I got 2 of them. I mean, I just got the one.
Well, no, because I only bought one. I got it because I was thinking ahead for Christmas. I was like, Scott would love this for Christmas. I know he's not going to purchase it.
Oh, so at the time you didn't buy one for yourself?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Did you ultimately buy another one to get yourself one?
Never did.
So you don't have this figure in your collection?
I do not.
Oh, I didn't know that. I figured you had bought 2. All these years I thought you had one too.
I think I purchased other things because I think there were some things on sale. So I picked up other things from the sale, and I was like, well, I'm trying to not overspend, so I'm going to just go ahead and get Scott his Christmas gift, and then I'll get other figures. And I forget what the other figures were that were in that box that came in. But at the same time, I was looking at that figure, and I'm like, oh, man, Scott doesn't know that this figure is coming to him for Christmas. So I could just keep it and then find something else for Scott along the way, because it was a couple months before. But I debated I should give you this figure for Christmas, and I was like, it's for Scott. Whatever. I'll do it. I'll just give him the figure.
Yeah, but maybe he'd enjoy this basic Sheamus way more.
So, yeah, there was one point in there where I was debating if I was going to give that figure to you.
Well, know that figure is loved. It's hanging up. It has not been opened. I view it every day. It's beautiful. It is an amazing Macho Man figure. Definitely top 5, not number 1, but definitely top 5. It's a great looking figure. And again, if you've never seen it, definitely go check out the RSC exclusive Macho King. Any
memories regarding these, Scott? Picking up the Piper and Orton, picking up anything like that, or any memories?
Definitely getting the Piper and Orton signed at WrestleCon was awesome. I love seeing that hanging up on the wall, getting the Kevin Von Erich signed. Really, I hate to say it with the Mattel Legends, it's more regret than it is great memories, because I regret not buying more of these. I was on a super tighter budget than I am now back in 2010, 2011 when these were plentiful on the pegs. And I wish I had a bigger budget, and I wish more of my figure budget had gone to the Legends. Because, man, I look back on these and I'm like, I don't have that one. I don't have that one. I would love to have a majority of these in my collection. So most of my memories with Mattel Legends are more regret for not buying more when I could have and passing on a ton of these. I wish I had the entire set. Unfortunately, I don't. And again, Michael Moore wrote a great column on these on the PW Torch. You should definitely go check it out if you have not yet, where he talks about values on these things and how the later series were drying up in terms of quantity available, and therefore they're more valuable. And it's very true. But this is one of Mattel's huge bright spots in their offerings since they came into existence in 2010 with WWE. The Mattel Legends is one of their best offerings ever. And if you're even on the fence about getting into these, buy one or two. And much like we talked about last week with Funko's Jeff being a super slippery slope, these are the same way. You buy one or two of these, you're going to be hook, line, and sinker trying to complete your collection.
I remember the first time I got one, I got a Mattel Legends from Matty Collector, and it was the rocker set. And I was so excited when that box came in, and I remember checking the shipping every day, and I remember, like, because of the postal service, it bounced around to other states that it shouldn't have been, it should have been on this route to me, and it was bouncing around to other states, and I'm like, come on, it took like Like they literally strapped it to a horse and took forever to get over to me. But I remember popping open that box for the Rockers and just being in complete and utter awe of, oh my God, the card, the figures, the purple shirts. These are great, man.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I remember that day. Then I remember getting the Dallas Page. Then remember getting the Arn and get the Tully. And I love these figures. And it's just getting them from Matty Collector in that white box had a special feeling to it that you cannot recreate.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Favorite figure out of all of these, Scott?
Ooh, out of the ones we just talked about or the entire line?
That's not fair. It's going to be the Macho, isn't it?
I'm probably going to say it's the Macho King. I think that one, there's just something about it. And now that I know that story, it makes it even more special about the Christmas gift thing. If I had to pick one, yeah, I'm going to say Macho King is the best out of all the Mattel Legends, which is actually saying a ton because the entire line is great. There are so many solid figures that were available to us. The Rick the Model Martel, I think, is one of the most underrated ones. But hands down favorite is going to be the Macho King.
I'm going to say Andre just because it has a special feeling of, Christopher Dean doing what he did to get that figure for me for Christmas. As far as looks, I love the Arn, I love the Tully, but I got to go with the Macho King. It just, from that loose robe, I guess it was.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain what that robe was. It was almost like long tassels.
It was very macho.
But the look of it was just awesome. The purple, the black, the colors, the gold just popped on that figure.
It really did.
I'll go with the Macho. So, man, it's tough to round these out. I hate rounding these out, actually.
Yeah, all the great offerings that we had. We finally got that NWA Road Warriors set that we all clamored for when Jack screwed us over and didn't give us the completion of that one with Animal. But, yeah, from top to bottom, one of Mattel's greatest offerings in their WWE line for sure. We've mentioned all the other sets that they've had, like we love the Hall of Champions, the Defining Moments. We loved all those, but if I had to pick one out of all of the Mattel line, one of their subsets, this one would be my favorite. And again, it's the nostalgia. Yes, I'm a huge mark for nostalgia, but look at the offerings from Mattel Legends, and you might be inclined to agree.
So where do we go from here?
That's a surprise. No spoilers. We're not pulling back the curtain at all on that one.
Is it because we don't know?
It's because we have no idea. We haven't even discussed it yet. We were crushed having to end this one. We haven't discussed what's next. It's like breaking up with someone and you start to talk about the next one. Too soon.
Back to Galoobs.
Yeah, we should fantasy book Galoobs.
Oh, that time period? Fantasy book Galoobs?
Yes. We'll fantasy book like 92, 93 Galoobs. 2 series of them.
Well, until then, that rounds out episode 198. And Scott, I believe we know what we're doing for 200.
Yeah, it's a family affair.
I like what you're doing there. It's a family affair that does not involve mom and dad coming on the show again.
Oh, more spoilers. Look at you, tipping our hand a little bit.
Mom and Dad was such a great episode, but unfortunately they will not be back on for 200. But you're right. It is a family affair.
It is, and we'll leave it at that. That might actually be the title of that episode.
True. I also want to thank Smart Cups for getting me through this show. Fully Posable 20 gets you 20% off over at smartcups.com. Also, breaking news. Actually, it's not breaking news. Wrestling Toy Tracker has a shirt up on What a Maneuver. So why don't you go over there, whatamaneuver.net, just scroll and you'll find the Wrestling Toy Tracker t-shirt over there. It's a beautiful shade of purple. It says Wrestling Toy Tracker. It has all of the links to his social media pages. So go help support Ryan over at WrestlingToyTracker.com or toy_tracker. Scott, Eagle Moss.
Yes, Eagle Moss is currently running a deal for you guys. If you go onto their site, and again, you can follow them on Twitter at HeroCollector_. If you head over to their site, they are currently running a deal where if you buy the Macho Man statue, you're going to get the Roman Reigns for free. So you get 2 for the price of 1, and the Macho Man is amazing. Take my word for it, that Macho Man statue is great. Speaking of Macho Man, he's kind of been a running theme this episode. But yes, definitely go check out Eagle Moss. They're running that deal for you guys. Buy Macho Man, get Roman Reigns for free. If you subscribe to their service, they will send you the figures or the statues every single month directly to your door. And in addition to your subscription, you will get the ring to display your statues in. These things are well worth your money. Go check them out again on Twitter at HeroCollector_.
Scott, I want to throw it back to the podcast buddies as well. Breaker and Bane do a wonderful show where they talk about wrestling, WTF stories, Funko news. They have a special guest on each week and just other random stuff. So go listen to Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. And Scott, I want to congratulate them. Episode 300 is this week. So go give them a listen. It means a lot to them. 300 episodes.
Congrats,
That's amazing.
guys. That's a massive accomplishment. As a podcaster, I can attest to how hard it is to commit to something like this. A lot come and go very quickly. It takes huge commitment, much less huge commitment from two people, to be able to do something for 300 consecutive episodes. Huge congrats to you guys. That is a massive accomplishment.
Yeah, congrats, guys. Eric and Barry each week do 2 shows, one on figs and merch and the other on wrestling. So go give Eric and Barry a listen over at Doing the Favor, or follow them on Twitter at Doing the Favor. PPW Podcast just released a show this past week where they would talk to listeners and about the random stuff that the listeners would do that was wrestling related. So for us, Scott, like those little armrest pillows, we used to wrestle with those downstairs.
Yes, you and I were a tag team. We held the titles, and the pillows were our Mulkey brothers.
Yep. And the best thing was there was so much padding in those pillows, you could power slam them and you would just bounce off of them.
Yes.
So you never got hurt. The funny thing is the arms on the pillows started to come apart because we kept wrestling with them as mom and dad would go to bed. And so the stuffing would be coming out around the arms of the pillows. And mom kept thinking, man, why do these pillows keep getting ripped? And mom would sew them back up and then we would continue to wrestle with them. And she'd be like, I don't understand how these pillows keep getting ripped. I don't know what happens to them.
Well, maybe if they knew how to take a doomsday device, Mom, they wouldn't rip so easily.
Yeah, we would hit them with a double drop kick, Mom. You know that they can't handle that.
Yeah, exactly. If they knew how to take a move, man.
Yeah, they get hit with a double drop kick. They're coming apart at the seams.
Yeah.
Literally.
Exactly.
So, Steve and Eric over at the Positively Pro Wrestling Podcast, or PPW Podcast, give them a listen also. Marty and Sarah each week welcome in their buddies. They do an improv show with their buddies. It's a very humorous show. I love Marty DeRosa. I love Sarah over here, so go give them a listen. Also, Jeff Palmacchio, thank you again for sending over that Madame Leota Funko. Not Your Mama's Soap Opera Podcast, and the Cassat Show. Scott, who do you got up on roll call this week?
First and foremost, as I do every week, I got to throw it out to our great, amazing artist, Jason Wolf. Give him a follow on Twitter at JasonWLF. If you need artwork, he is your guy. He's the person who has done a majority of our t-shirts that you can find over at Pro Wrestling Tees or whatamaneuver.net. He's fast. He's super cool. He gets right back to you. He's efficient. He charges you a fair price, and he gets it done on time. He gets you what you need, and he makes sure you're happy with what you get. If you need artwork, give Jason a follow on Twitter again at JasonWLF. And Jeff, this week I'm going to throw it out to the figure customizers. Taking a break from figure photographers this week. Going to throw it out to 3 figure customizers. First up, Scribble24, and you can follow him on Twitter at Scribble. That's SKRIBBEL24. Next up, at Asui88. That is at ASSUI88. And last but certainly not least, Jeff, Kyle Customs. You can follow him on Twitter at Kyle Customs with a K 2018. And Jeff, that rounds out roll call.
Great job, guys, over there on those customs. You guys are killing it. So keep up the great work. Scott, breaking news. The Nationals just won the World Series.
Oh, I feel horrible for special guest Sean, but I think that is great for Washington. They have, as far as I know, have never won a world championship back to when they were the Expos, correct?
Correct.
Wow. Huge congrats to the Nationals. It's going to be great to see Steven Strasburg in pinstripes next year.
I thought Garrett Cole was going to be in pinstripes.
He also.
So they're going to go after both. Wait a second. No, Strasburg's locked into a contract, dude.
But he can opt out.
Oh, he has the opt-out?
He does. Much like Clayton Kershaw from a year or two ago, Strasburg has the same option this year, so he can opt out of his deal.
Ooh.
So it looks like the Yankees are going to have to get 2 Brinks trucks should Strasburg opt out, and back them up to Cole's and Strasburg's house.
Let the hot stove off season begin. I love it.
It's already starting. I'm already starting to think of my fantasy team.
Me too. Scott, for episode 198, anything else?
Yes, a few things, Jeff. I normally go into my usual spiel here. Toys That Made Us Season 3 is in less than 2 weeks. I cannot wait for the wrestling figure episode. And I just want to thank all of our listeners again for making it happen that Jeff and I recorded with those guys. Again, no idea if we're even on the episode or not. If we are, amazing. If we aren't, it was an honor to record with those guys. They run a great operation. They have the fans' best interests at heart. They cater to their fans. And our listeners made it happen that you and I recorded with them. And for that, I am forever grateful to you guys. Not only for that, but for everything else that you do. Just a huge thank you to each and every person that made that happen and that supports our show. Fig Life since 2016, and happy toy hunting.
Yes, you guys basically made that for us, and thank you guys again. And then we'll be thanking you guys again when the show actually drops. I mean, it meant everything to Scott and I, two brothers from California, that you guys basically went to bat for us and flooded their Twitter, just bombarded them, and that meant the world to us. And so from us Toon Brothers over here to you guys, thank you. We hope we don't disappoint on that show. Hopefully we're on it more than 5 seconds. We don't know.
No idea.
we just hope, we're on there more than 5 seconds, or even if we've got one clip, that's all we care about.
That's it.
I had that dumb beard. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Well, they were like, hey, Jeff, if you could do your best to look like Beavis from that episode where he shaved off his hair and glued it to his face, that would be great. You just followed their instructions.
Done and done. So thank you again to everyone for listening to episode 198. Hashtag Fig Life. Adios.
Yeah. Fully poseable. Let's go. Jeff and Scott, the Toon Brothers, busting out the ring, but we don't take it out the box. MOC. Happy toy hunting. We'll see you next week. We're the OGs of WFP. Fully poseable, thank you all for listening. It ain't no storyline, real life siblings. So everybody go and do your toy spotting. Hashtag Fig Life, adios from the Kings.